All right. I want to thank you guys for joining me for another video. Today is Saturday, September 5th. We're getting ready to get the boat prepped for a weekend trip to Raystown Lake, Pennsylvania. It is a beautiful summer weekend. It is going to be like low 70s, maybe a little bit too cold to get into the water. But I'm hoping that the water is still going to be, let's get out of the sun. I'm hoping that the water's still going to be a little bit warm to enjoy it, for the kids to get in and do some water activities and have a good time. So the preface to today's video is going to be what it's like towing with a 2.7 liter Ecoboost. I've had the boat for, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months now. We've been towing a lot with it, a lot of shorter trips. But when I did pick the boat up, I picked it up 3.5 hours away, all mountainous roads, super high elevation, lots of windy roads, and the truck did pretty fabulous with it. I was clocking 18.5 miles of the gallon towing this boat on the way back, which is pretty unreal. I have not been able to duplicate that same number since, but again, most of our trips are, the local lake that we go to is less than 10 minutes away. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys firsthand what it's like towing with the 2.7 liter Ecoboost. We're going to be doing a lot of highway driving, and then once we get off the highway, there's going to be a decent bit of mountainous road. So we're going to kind of cut in here and there. I'm going to show you guys what the gas mileage is like, give you an idea of what it feels like. Well, again, this isn't a huge boat by any means. This is a 18-foot open bow rider. The boat and trailer can't weigh that much. I don't know, 3,500 pounds or something like that all together with the trailer and the boat. So it's not like I'm towing a huge load. But again, there are not a ton of videos out there talking about what the 2.7 is like towing. Other than the DS Trucks video. I want to give a shout out to him. He does do a lot of back and forth with the 3.5 and the 2.7. So he is about the only one out there with the data, but I'm going to give you a lowly, regular guy informational video on this. So we're going to go ahead and get the boat prepped a little bit. I'm going to grease up a few things, check some tire pressures, and we'll be back a little bit later once we get the trailer loaded up. Alright, so we are starting out on our maiden voyage. You can see it's 2 hours and 52 minutes and 164 miles to our destination. I just reset the trip counter. We only went 2 miles, real low speed, 10.1 miles per gallon. It's all going to even out once we get on the highway. Again, I'm going to try and replicate that 18.5 miles to the gallon I got that one time. But realistically, as I'm a little bit more comfortable with towing now, I go a little bit faster, and I'll probably average 16.5 or so along the trip. So far though, it is pulling just fine. Real low RPMs, is not struggling by any means. But we'll see how it goes as we're going down the highway and going through some mountains and such. Okay, so we are now on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. We're cruising at a brisk 70 miles an hour. There were a few spots I was doing about 80, and then I realized how fast I was going and decided to slow down a little bit. So what I will say that I have not noticed before is with the boat completely full of gas, the truck completely full of gas, an extra person in the car, extra gear, things like that. I mean, not huge amounts of weight, but there's more weight than what I normally have in here. I will say that the truck does need a little bit more throttle to maintain speed and get up hills a little bit more. We haven't hit any hard grade hills at all by any means, but I kind of do feel like I got to give it a little bit more throttle than what I normally do to kind of maintain pace here. So far, I don't expect my gas mileage to be great. So far, it looks like we're at 12.8 miles per gallon over 29 miles. Again, I have been a little bit harder on it than normal, but it is it's kind of needed, I feel like. So I'm going to go ahead and probably ease off it a little bit. I want to try and maintain around 65, 70 the whole way, see how it goes. So we've been cruising for a while. I set the cruise control for 65 and then realized that the speed limit is 70. So I bumped it up to 70. We've been cruising for a while. See, we got a little bit under 2 hours to go. Let's see what we're getting for fuel mileage. Looks like over a period of 90.7 miles, it's 12.2 miles per gallon. So I'm definitely nowhere even close to touching those numbers that I've touched before. I want to say I feel like there's a little bit of a headwind, but there's really not. At least nothing noticeable that you're seeing in the trees, but this is significantly lower than what I've seen before. However, this is more realistic numbers to what other people see. So I guess these probably make more sense than the 16.5 to 18.5 miles a gallon I've seen before. Now, granted, when I was doing that, I was probably closer to 60, maybe 55. So that extra, 15 miles an hour, so probably makes a significant difference on how much gas this thing chews. Otherwise, though, seems to be going pretty well. Again, I've towed with this enough on long or short distance stuff, and when we picked the boat up, it was a similar ride to this, about 3.5 hours or so, or 3 hours. So I do have a little bit of experience towing with it. But for the most part, it was staying in 8th gear. Looks like it kicked up to 9th gear not too long ago. Yeah, it was hovering around 8th for a good portion of time. See, it's sitting about 1900 RPMs at 70 miles an hour. So we'll go ahead and finish up the trip, and I'll show you guys what the total gas mileage was like. I expected it to be around that 12.5 miles a gallon though. So now you can see we are on the back roads. We've been on the back roads for probably a good 20-25 minutes, crawling up some mountains here a little bit. So truck is about 3,000 RPMs or so at about 50 miles an hour, staying in at pretty solid to make it up these hills. It's been pretty much 3,000 RPMs the whole way through, climbing through here. Doesn't feel like it struggles too much. Again, we do have a little bit more weight in it this time, but I mean, if you're at a constant speed, we're at a constant 50, we were going almost 60 miles an hour at some points, but if you keep constant speed and keep in it pretty decently, doesn't really have too much issues getting up these hills at all. I haven't gone over, probably quarter throttle, maybe kind of close to half throttle a couple times, but I'm keeping a pretty low throttle. It's not like I'm pegging it to try and get up these hills. Not sure what the elevation is right now. Let's do a gas mileage check. All right, 12.1 miles per gallon, over 146.5 miles. So again, that just seems like it's going to be the norm, because I am a little bit more comfortable towing now, and the speed is quite a bit higher than when I brought it home. So I guess these are just going to be the normal numbers. All right, so we're actually going to do a little bit of a follow-up. I tried an interesting test yesterday. Normally I run 87 octane in this vehicle even when I tow. I know it is highly suggested to put 93 octane in it. So I think I had quarter tank of gas left in the car the other night, or the truck the other night. I put some 93 in it, and we towed both ways to the lake and back, which had to be 60 miles total. And interestingly enough, you'll see the mileage there is 14.2 miles to the gallon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and reset this, and we still have 93 in the tank right now. So we're going to go ahead and jump on the highway, and we're going to do about a 2-hour trip along the way. That's going to be mostly highway, pretty much like what we did the way here, and we're going to see if the 93 makes a difference on gas mileage when towing. I will say that the vehicle definitely does feel different towing with a 93 octane. I would say that the horsepower would be minimal, you know, 10-15 horsepower maybe, but it did feel pretty considerably better. So we're going to try this mileage out on the way back. All right, so we are probably a little bit over halfway into our trip. You can see the cruise control set at 70 miles an hour. For the first part of the trip, we did a little bit of mountainous roads, which I didn't have the cruise control on. We were going around 55, 60, and then once we hit the actual highway, I put it to 70. So we're not giving it too much steam. So the results are pretty interesting. We'll go out to trip fuel, and you can see we're 93.5 miles in, and the MPGs is 13.8 so far with the 93 octane. So it does seem like, surprisingly, that the truck does do better with 93 octane, at least when you are towing. So like I said, we're about halfway in here. We got about another 40 minutes or so till our next stop, so we'll double check it and make sure that's where it sits through the rest of the trip, and then we'll conclude the video. Alright, so we ended up going quite a bit further. Again, cruise control set at 70 for the most part. A couple spots that went up to about 75, and the results are pretty interesting. So let's go back, trip fuel. We're going to see we went 177.3 miles total, and it is averaging 14.1 miles per gallon now on the 93. So it was a simple test. I don't know why I decided to try it, but it turns out it was pretty interesting results. So if you guys are towing, listen to Ford, use 93. I thought it was just for knock control, but more importantly, it does seem to get what is that, 2 miles per gallon more that I saw on the same exact route that we took there. We did the same exact route on the way back, and it worked out to better mileage. The truck does feel a little bit better as well. Again, that little bump in horsepower that it must give from a little bit added timing, it's enough that you feel it. I'm actually pretty surprised. So I guess going forward, I will be using 93 at least when I'm towing, because I do feel like it is worth it now that I proved that. So again, thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully this was useful in some fashion to you. I know I was surprised with the results, so hopefully you are too. If you have any questions or comments about the video, please let me know. Otherwise, this may possibly be the last video with the 2018. Again, once I get word that some 2021s are on the lot, I'm going to be getting a 2021, another XLT trim, I think. This time I may be going with the 3.5, but we will see. If you guys have any input on that, if you went from a 2.7 to 3.5, please let me know what your thoughts were about it, or if I should stick with the 2.7. My intent is that I'm probably going to be getting a bigger boat. I'm probably going to be getting a camper, so I'm trying to think that through and get a little bit extra towing capacity. So again, if you guys have any comments or suggestions, hit them down below, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.